guys, and welcome back to another episode of Jermaine Morgan TV. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you guys about creating bass loops, so stay tuned. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, do me a favor and press that subscribe button. Also press the like button. That helps this video to be found by more people like you. If you want to, feel free to leave a comment. And as usual, I appreciate you guys for being here. All right, so jumping right into today's lesson, if any of you guys catch my live broadcast most of the time on Tuesdays, 7:30 a.m. EST. I know that's kind of early for most people, but that's pretty much when I jump on live if you ever want to catch me on one of my live broadcasts. But this past week I was doing a live, and if you guys know me, you know I'm pretty much always doing these bass loops or some type of bass pattern, and I'm playing to them, jamming out, having a really good time playing in the live. So, and it was kind of funny because generally I'm there answering questions, but one of the things somebody said, you should do a live on how to make loops and how to use the looper pedal. I'm like, you know what? That would be a good idea. So I decided to do a lesson today, not only to show you guys how to use a looper pedal in general, but to just kind of give you some insight on my process, how I create, some of the ways I go about it, and how I come up with the things that I come up with. Just in case you're someone that doesn't have a clue to what a looper pedal is, it's just simply a pedal that allows you to record whatever you're playing on bass and to loop that sound, just like it sounds, loop that sound and keep stacking other things on top of it. So in essence, it's a pedal that allows you to be a producer, in my opinion, on bass, because even getting into the way that I think, it's like I think of this instrument not just as a bass especially when I'm doing my looper stuff. I'm thinking of this instrument as almost every other instrument in the band. And I'm looking for ways that I can get the most mileage out of this instrument and try to find every other instrument that's in the band right here. And it's possible to do it. So I want to show you guys how I do that. So most of the time when I'm creating, it can start a number of ways. I don't always start with the drum beat. And if I am creating drums, I'm generally doing that by the thumping and the plucking of the strings. So I normally find me a good tone if I want to get me something that's pretty low for a bass drum. And notice where you hit on the string is going to change the tone of your so-called bass drum. So I'm being aware of that. And not only that, I'm kind of muting when I'm trying to record my bass. So I may lay my arm or something over the strings just so I have a really dead sound, just to get a great muting going. You see what I'm saying? Because if I'm doing that, I don't get as much as I want to, so I might lay my arm down, and that gives me a little bit more meat under my bass drum. That's the way I'm thinking about it. And then for my snare, a lot of times I'm using a pluck on the G string. And I'll find a good spot on the G string. Sometimes I'll use the fret wrap to just mute so I don't get any extra buzz. So you'll see me doing that a lot when you can hear that extra ringing. I don't want that, so I'll use this Groove Gear fret wrap to get me a nice little snare sound. So I have but most of the time I'm not creating the drums first. A lot of times I like to establish some type of groove so I at least know where I'm going. Now there are random times where I might put a beat down first, but most of the time, you know, I'm just establishing some type of groove first. So let's go. And just a rule of thumb for me, I like to go ahead and get into the groove first before I press record. So I might play one pass through and then come back and record it the second time around. So now, so now we got that. That's my foundation. All right. So now the next thing I'll probably add will be like a kick drum. Find me a good tone. I don't like that. See, I'll search around until I find something that I like. Normally I can hit right there on the 12th fret and get a pretty decent bass drum sound for me, for my liking. So let's try that. So we have that. Let's add a little snare drum to it. Generally on the 2 and the 4. 1, 3. You see what I'm saying? right, so we have that down. So we got our foundation down. We got just a basic drum beat. Now, something that we're missing in this drum pattern, if you guys were to listen, is like our hi-hat. We don't have anything keeping whatever that hi-hat pattern is going to be. We don't have anything that's creating there. So remember, I'm thinking of it, I'm giving you guys my process. I'm thinking of it as a complete band. So all I have right now is just a bass, and I have drums like a kick and snare. So I want some other elements there. Now here's where we can kind of switch it up, because we can like blend the guitar sound and the hi-hat sound. So what I mean by that, we can make it percussive. We can make it like a rhythm guitar, but we can use that also as our hi-hat because it's going to keep a rhythm. So if I were to go, and no, I'm not playing with the pick, I'm getting tones that I want, and I'm using my hands to get the tones that I want. So I'm using my finger almost as if I have a pick, and I'm using the top part of my nail to get that guitar sound, as opposed to, it's a different sound. So I'll use my fingernail, and it gives me a really nice tight sound, and it can also substitute for me having a hi-hat or some other kind of rhythmic instrument. So let's add that in there. So all right, let's add that in there. So another rule of thumb, as you begin to create these different parts, leave space. As you'll find out as you do this more and more, you have to leave space, because you might hear some other things. And if I'm doing that every time, I'm filling up a lot of space, so I'm not leaving a lot of room for me to be more creative. The more space I leave with each instrument, that gives me the room to add some other things in there. So now maybe I want to add some other chords in there. So right now I'm in the key of G. I can play that. So let's try that. So I got some different effects pedals on my bass. I know that's against the law, right? But I have some different effects pedals. So I'm gonna add a little chorus to that. And remember, when you're playing the bass, sometimes it has a tendency to get a little too boomy or a little too bassy. So sometimes you may have to roll off with your bass just to get whatever sounds you want and cutting through. Other thing you want to be aware of is how loud the other things are that you're adding, because each time you stack, it's getting louder and louder. So make sure that you don't drown out the initial foundation that you laid. All right, so I'm gonna pull my volume back. So I got my chorus, and if any of you guys are interested in what chorus I'm using a Corona chorus by TC Electronic. Okay, so here we go. And this is just to add some foundation up under the chorus. I'm gonna add a little reverb to that as well. So as you can hear now, it's coming together a little bit more. So now that could have been like my keyboard part or organ or whatever you want to think, some type of keyboard patch that's giving me a thicker sound up under my chords. So I'm filling up that empty space, not taking over everything completely, but I'm filling it up a little bit more. So it's starting to get a little more full. I'm gonna cut these other sounds off. And what else I want to add to it? We just listen to it. All right, and to be honest, that's cool. You can rock with that, and you have plenty enough stuff for the track. But if you just want to keep building and keep experimenting, you can come up with lines and that kind of stuff. And it doesn't have to be really, really complicated stuff. You can take something as simple as the major scale and start creating your own melody lines up under that, so you can have something like a horn line that you want to add. Let's see. Okay, so if we wanted to take anything from that major scale, or we can go major pentatonic. Okay, we can use that. I just took part of the major pentatonic scale, and let's see if we can add that to create some type of horn type sound. We're just experimenting right now. And that's the biggest thing with this looper pedal. We want to experiment and have fun with it. All right, so let's go. Let me see how we can make that. So let's add that. I just harmonized that line for horns. So now we have a harmonized horn line. You see what I'm saying? Now the other thing I want you guys to pay attention to as you're building, most of these looper pedals have an erase function. So notice I'm recording my part and then I'm cutting it off and letting the loop keep playing. So that's the function that we have, that we can kind of keep stacking those sounds. Now if you do it the other way around, once it loops and you keep trying to add on the same, I'll call it channel, you keep trying to add to the same one, you're going to keep stacking, and if you try to go back and erase, you're going to erase everything that you did. We don't want to do that. We just want to be able to erase, or have the option to erase whatever the last thing was we done, instead of erasing the whole track. So that way you can record something, click it off, record it again. If you don't like it, you can hold it. Most of them have a function where you can hold it to erase it and then press it again to re-record. I don't know which one you have. Again, I'm using Mr. Jermaine stereo by Digitech. I've been using this one for about 10 years. It's just a favorite of mine. I have used the TC Electronic Ditto Looper, and it's really cool, don't get me wrong. I guess I've just gotten used to this one, and a lot of my songs are saved in this one, so it's kind of got a little bit more sentimental value to me, and I guess that's why I keep going back to it. I also have the option with this particular looper to use a microphone. I can use a microphone with it. I can go stereo in, stereo out. And you can do tons of other things. I'm not trying to promote Digitech or anything like that, but this is just what I use because I know I'm going to get asked by somebody, hey, what looper do you use? That's the one I use, and if you were to see me out, you're more likely to see me with this Digitech Jermaine stereo. And so it's been a solid one. Like I said, I've been using it for over 10 years now, and it hadn't let me down yet. So I enjoy using that, and yeah, I just wanted to kind of show you guys just some different things you can kind of start doing now if you want to get into using looper pedals. You can get almost a looper pedal from anywhere now. Everybody's making them now. They are way less expensive than they were a few years back when I was trying to buy one. So you can probably find one now for under $100. That's a pretty good looper pedal. It doesn't matter which one you get. It's all about your preference. The biggest thing is to get one, to get started, start creating, start stretching your mind as a bass player, and see how many different ideas you can come up with, because it's really going to challenge you. It's going to challenge you in the area of timing. It's going to challenge you in the area of ear training, because you're listening to all the other parts. You're going to really have to be listening to make sure you land on the one. Most of these looper pedals that I know of don't have a metronome counting on it. So it's all up to you and your internal clock. Now, some of the more advanced ones might have a metronome on them now, but I know this particular one and other ones that I've used, like the Ditto, does not have a metronome setting on it. So you're left to your internal clock, or you can put a metronome on your phone or computer or something. But to me, I think it's better to just kind of go with your own internal clock and really work on strengthening that. So I just wanted to give you guys some tips there, since some of you guys did question me about how did I create the loops and want to know more about the looper pedal. And I think it's a great investment if you're looking to get into creating your own loops, especially during this quarantine time. We don't have nothing else to do but practice. So it's a great time to get into it, start figuring it out. And you never know. I wrote half of my life album on a looper pedal, and it just allowed me to be creative and come up with as many ideas. I don't have to open up a session or anything like that. I can get my ideas out. Matter of fact, some of my DreamWorks reality came straight from that looper pedal. So I encourage you guys, if you haven't already started using a looper, be sure to do that. And before I go, I want to announce the winner of this week's Say It With Your Strings giveaway, Dimitri Mariner. So if you're watching this, Dimitri, be sure to send me an email at jermaine@jermainemorgan.net with your information so you can claim your new string, so I'll know where to send them. And remember guys, if you want to enter for your chance to win, I think I have like one more set that I'm going to be giving away, but remember to leave your name and where you're watching from. Leave it in this video and I will announce the winner on next week. Last but not least, if you guys are not part of the monthly membership lessons, then you're definitely missing out. There's so much information that I've covered. I've been doing the monthly membership lessons for about 3 years, a little over 3 years now. So there's over 150 lessons. A lot of these lessons are not here on YouTube, and the ones that are on YouTube, you get the extended version of these lessons, but there's so much content that I cover there in the monthly membership lessons. As well, we're not even talking about the courses that I've created, like the shout bump bass course, riffs and licks, and all these other courses that I've created custom for bass players that's trying to learn a little bit more about gospel music, that's trying to improve on their chops and all this kind of stuff. So if you haven't visited JermaineMorgan.net, be sure to visit it right after this. And if it's your first time visiting my website, it'll be a little surprise waiting for you as soon as you show up. Oh, and last but not least, I want to do something special for you guys. I can't do a string giveaway for everybody, but if you made it this far in the video, there's something I do want to do for you. I want to give you 2 free licks. So if you look down in the description of this video, you'll see where you can claim your 2 free bass licks from me, and it's my gift to you to say thank you for just being a part of these lessons. Thank you for watching. Thank you for keeping up with me, and I appreciate you guys as usual for being here. I'm out of here. Peace.